We have breaking news. OG Anunoby just had successful surgery on his right elbow, but because of that, he's set to miss some time. We're going to break down exactly the surgery he had on his elbow, how much time he's set to miss, and how this is going to affect the New York Knicks moving forward this season. All of this and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now, and make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. OG Anunoby has surgery on his elbow. Now, we did a video a couple of days ago about OG and his new injury update because the injury report came out for yesterday's game against Dallas. And on that report, it was updated and it said instead of right elbow inflammation, it now said right elbow bone spur irritation. That was a very crucial update, and that basically set the stage for what we were going to see over the next couple of days. And after the trade deadline, which is essentially what the New York Knicks were doing, it sounded like they were hiding his injury a little bit, so a lot of teams they were dealing with wouldn't know how desperate they were in regards to their injuries and how much they needed to upgrade the roster. So because of that, they didn't release any information until yesterday. And that's when we found out that OG Anunoby had successful surgery on his elbow. Let's break down the entire story so we can get you updated today. Shout out to Adrian Wojnarowski from ESPN for breaking this news first. According to him, New York Knicks forward OG Anunoby had surgery to remove a loose bone fragment in his right elbow and will miss a minimum of 3 weeks. The procedure is considered a minor procedure, and he's expected to resume basketball activities in 3 weeks. I want to point out here that Knicks PR on the app X actually tweeted out that the surgery for Anunoby was successful to remove the loose bone fragment that he had. Our resident NBA insider in SNY, Ian Bagley, gave us the following information as well too on OG Anunoby and his surgery. According to Bailey, OG had successful surgery to remove a loose bone fragment from his right elbow. He will be reevaluated in 3 weeks. As SNY reported earlier today, uncertainty around Anunoby's elbow was a factor in the Knicks' approach at the deadline. But I know what the real question you guys have is, when's the earliest we can see Anunoby come back to the court for the New York Knicks? Well, thankfully, we have that information too. According to Knicks Video, which is SNY's account on the app X, they note that the Knicks will not see OG Anunoby on the court until at least March. But Ian Bagley gives us some more information on why the New York Knicks went the surgery route rather than waiting till the offseason to do the same thing. According to Bagley, he was told that OG Anunoby's procedure is viewed by team and player as the most effective and fastest way to get him fully healthy for stretch run / postseason. League source says Anunoby is expected to be back doing basketball activities in 3 weeks. Shout out to Woj and Ian Bagley for giving us these updates on OG and his current status after the surgery. Now I stated that at some point in time, OG Anunoby was going to need surgery, regardless if he could avoid it this season. At some point, given the issue that he had, surgery was going to be happening at some point down the road. And it seems like due to the discomfort for OG Anunoby, the fact that the New York Knicks medical staff and OG himself think this is the fastest way to get him back healthy and available for a long postseason run, I absolutely agree with him doing the surgery. And get this, doing the surgery right now might be a blessing in disguise. Where are we right now? We are very close. I think we're about 4 games away from the All-Star break. So if you needed to have surgery for a procedure like this, you could not pick a better chance to do it than right now, because the whole league is going to go on a rest very soon. It's going to give our guys an extra couple of days to rest, recover, and get back to being healthy, because right now, the New York Knicks are down. We keep losing players. Yesterday night, we lost Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't know for how many games, but he did not play the rest of yesterday's game against Dallas. So that was something telling. We're already missing OG Anunoby for 3 weeks. We're missing Julius Randle for the next couple of weeks. Jalen Brunson is out right now. Although it doesn't seem like it's a serious injury, he's still out with an injury nonetheless. So that's another player out. We saw other players hobbling up the court yesterday in Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo. We clearly need more players. We need more pieces. That's why we made the trade in the first place to get Alec Burks and Bojan Bogdanovic. They're going to be adding to the New York Knicks depth, and hopefully they're going to take the court on Saturday to play for the Knicks because we are down too many people and we need more bodies. We need more players. And these guys, if they're available and healthy, they will be seeing sizable minutes under Tom Thibodeau because we really don't have anybody else. We're going to need them to play heavy minutes. But that's okay. Coming from Detroit, I think they're ready and prepared to play as many minutes as asked from them from Tom Thibodeau. The best thing to hear about this surgery is that it was successful. And surgeries like this likely don't keep players out for too many weeks. It's usually a couple of weeks at most, and then you're back on court doing basketball activities. So while I do understand that he has a 3-week reevaluation period, I think when he is reevaluated, they're going to clear him for basketball activities. He's going to be back on court, and he's going to be doing everything he can to ramp up and get ready, get focused, and get prepared to get back on court for the New York Knicks and be just as effective and just as impactful as we need him to be. But honestly, even though there are some positives that we can go ahead and take away from this situation, we can't go ahead and deny that he just had surgery. And the New York Knicks were very smart. They didn't reveal the issue with OG Anunoby and the fact that he needed surgery and even had surgery until they made that trade for Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks. Once that was set and they made all the moves they needed to make, they went ahead and they announced what OG's situation was and the fact that he needed surgery and he had surgery. That was really, really methodical of the New York Knicks to go ahead and do that, plan all that out, still get the moves they needed to make and get those things done while still making sure they informed the public about everything going on with the players, with OG, and everything else like that. I gotta say, Leon Rose, the New York Knicks front office, this year, after everything that they've done, all the announcement that they've made, and the way that they've played this, it's really impressed me. The New York Knicks are a better team, and when healthy, we are deep, and we are going to be a legit problem for anybody that sees us comes the postseason. But right now, OG Anunoby, his health and him recovering is the one thing on my mind. The Knicks have been clearly bitten by the injury bug. We have a number of players out. It is definitely next man up mentality, and that's what every single player stepping on that court for the New York Knicks understands. They understand their role. They understand the situation. They understand the team that they have and what they can do in the Eastern Conference when healthy. So that's why everybody is motivated, they're focused, and they're playing some of the best basketball we've ever seen. Some of the best team basketball, I want to say, that we've ever seen under a Tom Thibodeau coach team. And I think that's something to say. That's a statement. That means everybody this season is looking at Tom Thibodeau, buying into what he's saying, what he's preaching, and what he's doing. And that's also leading to success on the court. Not to mention, when you have guys and leaders like Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, it's going to change your fortune as well, too. So I got to say, right now, the New York Knicks are looking like one of the best teams in basketball. And when healthy, we are going to be deadly. But I can't lie. Losing OG Anunoby is a very big hit and a very big problem. But we're going to have to survive life without OG Anunoby. And that's saying something because OG and his impact on this Knicks team cannot be understated. He has one of the best plus minuses when playing for the New York Knicks than any other player in the league. That is saying something. That's how effective he is. Missing a player like that is going to take a hit for this roster. We're all going to have to step up. We're all going to have to make sure that we're playing the best basketball that we're playing. We're locked in and we're focused because that's the only way the Knicks are going to give themselves a chance each and every night to win these games. We're going to have to keep it afloat until we get our guys back. But slowly and surely, once we get our guys back, they return healthy, focused, and locked in. I can't see a team in the East, let alone the NBA, that's going to deal with this Knicks team. We are deep, we are good, and we are back. The New York Knicks have locked themselves in with the moves that they made at this trade deadline to be one of the best teams for the next few seasons. Not just this season, but for the next few years. And as a Knicks fan who's been watching this team for the better part of 20 years, I can say with confidence and happiness, this is one of the best teams I've ever seen on the court, and this is also one of the deepest teams I've seen that has this many assets available left to make a move this offseason. That is saying something. Leon Rose, Worldwide Wes, Gerson Rosas, and the entire New York Knicks organization in general. Great moves, amazing moves, and what a time to be alive. What a time to be a New York Knicks fan right now. We are tied for third in the East as I'm speaking to you. We are a couple of games behind Cleveland for the second spot in the East, and we are a few games out from the number one spot in the Eastern Conference, and we are still not fully healthy. OG's injury, it hurts us. It definitely does, and it takes away from what this roster can do when fully healthy. But that's the thing. Once we get fully healthy and we get OG Anunoby back, and shout out to OG, I wish him well, and I hope his recovery goes fast. But once we get him back and the whole roster's healthy, this Knicks team is going to be a problem for each and every team they see on a nightly basis. But what about you guys? What do you think about the OG Anunoby surgery? And what do you think it means for the New York Knicks moving forward? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.